I'm sorry, I ran short on time, and so here's part two. But, Steph, what I was trying to get my point across is in California, when you get hired and you fill out paperwork, um, if you read the fine print, it tells you what you are not allowed to discriminate against. And of course, everybody has the same things as far as race, sex, creed, all that stuff. In California and other places, I don't know, maybe about half the time it'll have things like sexual preference and sexual orientation. Um, Now, in California and other places like California, it doesn't matter if it says that or not because it's a state law saying there's a state law saying you cannot discriminate against someone based on sexual preference or sexual orientation. Now, so basically, it really doesn't matter. Now, when you're in other places like the state that I live in, Arizona, you have to look, and you have to look carefully because unless it actually states on there that they cannot discriminate against you based on sexual orientation and sexual preference, then it's perfectly legal because it's based on companies and what their rules and regulations are. And if it doesn't say that, then you're basically screwed. Now, my case, it was actually quite obvious, and I could have proven my case in California, sued, and gotten a lot of money. I mean, most people do not sue because it's like rape. It's hard to prove, okay? But I actually had more than one person that could corroborate when I had this conversation with my lieutenant. And I also had the entire staff from my shift that could back me up that all of a sudden I went from the security officer that could do no wrong to the security officer that couldn't do anything right and that was repeatedly harassed and verbally abused by my lieutenant starting on such and such a date. Okay? You put two and two together, you've got harassment based on sexual orientation and sexual preference. And I could have made a lot of money if I was back in California. Oh, yes. But it's perfectly legal here. Now, you're not going to see it, but if she wanted to, she could say, you know what, we don't like dykes here. Get the fuck out. She could have. And there wouldn't have been a damn thing that I would have been able to do about it. So you can't really get mad at someone who is in a state like that, who's in a homophobic company like that, that has to keep their mouth shut and stay in the closet. Okay? You can't do that. You can't be judgmental like that. Okay? Especially in this kind of economy. Okay? Yeah, who the hell's going to want to work for a homophobic company like that? I know I certainly wouldn't, and given a choice, I certainly would not. But especially in times of economic crisis like now. I mean, we're in a hell of a recession. Everybody's getting laid off. No, everybody's looking for a job. Hardly anybody's hiring. And, if you are lucky enough to get a job, it's probably not going to be something that you really want to do or exactly in your field or working for a company that's not homophobic. But if that's the only job that you can get that pays the bills is working for a homophobic company, then sometimes you need to start looking at your priorities and do what you need to do to get along in this life, especially if you've got a family to raise. If you've got a spouse to support, if you've got children to support, yeah, you need to look at your priorities and say, what's more important? Now, it's a little bit easier for me because I'm single, but even I'm feeling the pinch. I've been out of work since April of 2008, okay? I'm not even getting unemployment, and if I was, it certainly would have been out by now. So, yes, even though normally you'd never see me work for a homophobic company, I just might. And I'm not going to sit there and have my livelihood, you know, down the tubes because I'm too proud to shut my mouth. Okay? And especially now, since all my savings is drained because of all this time not working and not getting unemployment. Do you understand? You can't be judgmental about this. You can't. I don't know what you do for a living. I think I heard you say that you're in business for yourself, but if that's the case, don't you understand the luxury that offers you? That's a luxury. That is one hell of a luxury. And then also, depending, let's say someone is in a relationship that they're getting out in a divorce, okay? You may be a lesbian, maybe you were married to a man, had a kid, shit like that happens. If you're in a state such as Florida, and one of the parents is gay or lesbian, and the other parent is straight, especially if that parent wants to be an asshole, the gay or lesbian parent is not going to be able to gain custody in Florida or other states such as Florida. And for someone to possibly lose their own child because of that, you can't sit there and be mad at them because they're in the closet. At least for the amount of time that it takes to decide who gets custody. Okay? That's pretty damn important. And yes, even though I am out and proud and all that stuff, I would shut my mouth and downplay that as much as possible if that guy already knew that I was a lesbian, and not shove it in his face, because it's going to stop me from getting custody of my child. Once that has already been established, that I have custody of my own child, then fine, march in as many parades as you want. And also, these people who I'm coming to the defense of, now I'm going to get and dig into you. I see where you guys are coming from. But also, when you're not in jeopardy with your job, when you're not in jeopardy with your child and your family and all that stuff, you need to grow a set. And you need to come out of the closet, because it's because people are not standing up and being counted. Hi, I'm a gay man. Hi, I'm a lesbian woman. Hi, I'm a bisexual. Hi, I'm transsexual. Hi, I'm transgendered. We will never truly be counted as the true numbers that we are. And I will never believe that we are only 3% of the population. And I will never believe that we are only 10% of the population. That is bullshit. But because people are hiding and ashamed and all that stuff, we have to sit there and be treated like shit, because not only are we a minority, but we are such a tiny, minute minority. To be only 10% or 3% of a population, who gives a flying fuck about us, and why should they? It is your responsibility to once you get out of that situation where you have to be safe, to stand up and be counted. Grow a set. Make it that much easier on your gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, and transvestite brothers and sisters. If we help each other, the fight cannot be that hard for one person. Alone, we mean nothing. We are nothing. But together, we are a force to be reckoned with. Brightest blessings.